My name is Ted Carmen. I grew up raising pigs on a farm in Ohio. I went to Harvard. I was on a destroyer in the U.S. Navy for 2 years. In my 20s, I climbed 2 vertical miles of ice and snow on Mount Logan in the Canadian Yukon. I have renovated barns, houses, old mill buildings, and hospitals into housing. I have learned about effort, efficiency. I've learned to work with my hands doing all of this. For the last 30 years, I've lived in Boston, and I've been in the real estate development, finance, and consulting business. Often walking to work, I would see people sweeping the sidewalks and the curbs with a broom in one hand and a dustpan in the other. The broom tends to be small because the wrist is very weak in this position. This is not a problem if you're working on a task for a few minutes. But if you're working in an airport or in a grocery store where it's continuous, the wrist starts to hurt, there's carpal tunnel problems, there are ergonomic issues. I looked at this for 10 years and thought about it, and over that time I thought there must be a better way. About 12 years ago I decided to do something about it, and I came up with the advance handle. The advance handle has a receptacle at this end, it has a grip, now my wrist is in the right position, it has a seat under the wrist, and it has a helix. The helix serves to transmit forces from the end in 360 degrees. Now, when I add the broom, the sweeping is a much different proposition. Well, it turned out, to my surprise, that solving this problem led to other extraordinary opportunities. For instance, painting with a paint roller. Look at how much easier it is to paint, how I don't have to bend over to get near the floor. Further, I found when I was mopping the kitchen floor, despite the fact being in pretty good shape, my back would start to hurt after about 10 minutes. You have to bend over. This is a standard sized mop. When I add this mop to my handle, now the motion becomes a very different motion. It's really quite a lot easier. There are many other uses that the handle can be used for along these lines. This is a prototype of the handle. It's never been produced. There haven't been any sales. In fact, we think the design should be modified. It should have more of a wow factor. It should be lighter. It should be sleeker. We think the handle can be built for about $2 or $3 per unit. It would sell for $20 to $25, leaving plenty of profit margin. It's a very simple device. Consequently, it could be easily knocked off once it became well-known and popular, and therefore profitability really is tied to having a patent. I was able to raise $485,000 in 2001 in order to develop the handle and to seek the patent. The problem is the patent office turned us down repeatedly. My investors were discouraged. I bought them out. I continued pursuing the patent, and I'm happy to say that eventually a 3-judge panel overruled the examiner, and I now stand before you with my handle and with a patent, a utility patent with broad claims that give great protection in the United States against any competition. I'm therefore looking to the Sharks for an investment of $650,000, in exchange for which they will get a priority return and a 50% of the profits of the company. I'll use the money to refine the design, to get an inventory put together, to get the handle sold in a series of stores, on TV, and on the internet. Selling it to actual users will enable us to prove the concept that people like the handle, that it's useful to them, and that they will buy it. Armed with this information, my plan is to take the handle to retailers, to mass merchandisers, and to license it to them so that I can use the muscle of their marketing and distribution to get this widely available across the country and internationally. I'm looking to the Sharks for not only money, but for their advice and for their experience. and I'm hoping to have the opportunity to make this pitch directly to them.